Hello, Merry Meet. So, I want to review a book. The book I want to review is this one. It's Step by Step Tarot by Terry Donaldson. And as you can see, this one has seen better days. I got it cheap at a used bookstore, but it will still do its job. I think this book is out of print, but it is fairly common to find very affordable in used bookstores and bargain bins. I'm not completely sure who published it, though. But let's have a look, shall we? It's Tornsons that has published it. So look what's in here. It is basically a beginner's guide to tarot type book. We have acknowledgements, we have dedication, introduction, and historical origins, which is quite a good thing to have in there, because there's a lot of confusion about that. A deck you will be comfortable with, which discusses basically choosing your deck and how you should choose your deck. How the tarot works, which of course is the author's own idea of this, but it's still a good chapter. Tarot worksheets, the heightened meanings, the court cards, concentrated meanings, spreads and layouts, card reversals, practical tarot guidelines. All of these are things that will give you more details to your reading than just basically, oh, here's the Queen of Swords, here's Two of Cups, here's the Tower. Oh, it has to mean the end of a relationship due to an affair. Because it basically lets you add a lot of details to your reading. Now about those cards you can't remember, which is a pretty fun one. It's basically how do you remember the cards? Doing the same with playing cards, also a nice chapter. Brainstorming with the four elementals. Meditation with the tarot, which I love that chapter because that is something that a lot of people, when they start using the tarot, overlook, just how great a meditation tool the tarot is. Twinning. About the negative cards, I really like that one because there's a lot of cards that have a bit of a tendency to be seen as the negative cards. But really, there aren't no directly negative cards. Even the Tower can mean positive things in the right context. Let's say you are trying to break out of a relationship that no longer works for you. Then the Tower is an excellent card because it means breaking down the old to get room for the new. You have used a tape recorder, which is quite interesting. Of course, this book is a older one, so now you might use your computer or something like that. But yes, to basically, even when you read for yourself, it can sometimes be easier to do it if you sit there with the cards and you speak what you're instead of trying to remember everything to write it up later. You have a tape recorder or some sort of recorder on your computer on, and you just speak just as you would to a client as you're reading the cards, not to have to break the flow of it constantly to try to remember everything. That can be a quite useful tool. How to avoid depletion, also is one basically how to be sensible with the tarot and not take yourself out to the point where you just get too tired. Where to go from here is basically for how do you take your card reading beyond the step of this book. Then you have an appendix with a code of tarot readership, which of course is this author's opinion on it. Bibliography and about the author, and I think that was everything. Yes, it was. So it goes through the cards. You can see here these somebody has been highlighting things, and which can sometimes be fun with used books to see what other people have highlighted. goes through some of the cards. But there is also a lot of other things, like here it discusses the court cards, how the court cards might be read. There are some layouts. Here one, for example. We all know this one. There's some new ones. Basically, there's just a pretty good bit of information in this book that can be very useful for the beginner tarot reader. Of course, not everything will be for you. You might not agree with the author's code of tarot reading, because not everybody do agree. Some says that, yeah, sure, you can read for somebody who isn't there, for example. This is one moral issue that a lot of tarot readers have to decide for themselves. If somebody comes and says, can you do a reading on my son? I'm worried about him, he doesn't seem to be feeling like himself. And you have to decide if you think it's an invasion of that son's privacy to do a reading for him. Or when you read, do you keep it always positive? Or do you also tell your client when you see things that are not positive? Basically, and these are things that you have to decide for yourself, but it can be nice to have there as a basic idea of how such a code can be. And it basically gives you very much of the beginner information. It is not a huge amount of information in that, because you saw some of the pages, there was not too much written on each page, at least the ones about the cards, but it will give you enough. This is a great book to get in addition to your first deck, because it will give you a lot of the basics that you need. I think that the most useful part of the book for those who have been reading tarot for a while are the section about how do you remember the cards. What do you do with card when you suddenly forget the meaning of a card during a reading? Those things are very practical, both how do you memorize the cards and what do you do when you suddenly find yourself forgetting it, when you definitely need it. Do you fetch up a book or do you eyeball it? And so that's a very useful section, and also some of the layouts are very useful. And the chapter about tarot meditation is also very useful for people that have been reading tarot for a while. But this is definitely a beginner's tarot book, and it's a beginner's tarot book that are designed a lot for people that gets frustrated with your typical tarot books that just bombard you with information. It is very practical and to the point, and I like that. So yeah, you can almost say it's demystifying, in that it's very to the point. This is how you can do it. Here's some advice for how to solve so and so and so problem. And I believe that following the advice in this book, you will be a better tarot reader. So is it perfect? No, of course not. There are sometimes a bit too little information about some subjects, but all in all, this is a pretty good little book, and it's a shame that it has never really gotten a lot of recognition, and as such is out of print. Oh yeah, one more thing, there's these adorable little drawings. That's just cool. So don't be too analytical. So yeah, it's just a fun little book. It's almost a little bit like those Idiot's Guide to, and what are the other ones? It's the Complete Idiot's Guide, and well, you know what books I'm talking about. It has a bit of that flair to it. So yeah, I would actually recommend this book, and it can be gotten very inexpensively from bargain bin and used bookstores. I think I paid like $3 or so for mine. So yeah, I hope you have enjoyed this review. Have a great day, and blessed be.